Yeah, so God doesn't say that. Work is having, brand.
Anywhere you want to. No, that's not taken. That's from the previous meeting.
Yeah, that long waits there, of course, because they're really looking.
Probably why I was looking at your dog.
I know, yeah. He's on my desk.
We got your, you got it already, okay.
You weren't saying. That's right. Is the first.
What's up? Yeah.
Yeah.
Agenda.
All right, I'd like to welcome everybody to the June. Thursday. I'd like to welcome everybody to the meeting. If anybody needs a packet on the agenda, we have them. We will start out with introductions. So a lot of new faces speaking, and we'll start out with the staff, I guess. So Josh, you want to lead us off?
Josh Trinnell, sustainability planner.
Madison Carisco, GIS and data analyst. Living Garcia, plan. Later, getting into.
The organization chart.
Perfect.
You could just probably pass the whole stack.
That's more fun if it's in.
All right.
Okay, great.
I'm Marcus Stiglione, Executive Director.
I'm Joe Grasso, supervisor for the small town of Charlton in southwestern Surrey County, and I'm also on the Surrey County Board of Supervisors.
You may want to Schenectady County.
Charlie Davidson, Schenectady County Sustainability Coordinator, also
Perfect news, Schenectady County.
Michael Stanley, Rensselaer County. Alex Sanders, Schenectady County.
Judy Bressler, Rensselaer County. Amy Weinstein, CDRPC.
Kristen Swinton, Albany County.
Dan Sal, Rensselaer County.
David O'Shamp, Schenectady County.
Agatha Reed, Deputy Supervisor with Clifton Park in Saratoga.
Larry Schillinger, Quality Control Technician, Coffee and Donuts, and Albany.
Sure, we have Hallie Dockenoff. She's our Senior Sustainability Planner. Tom Fabozzi, Director of Sustainability. Natalie Berger, our new Sustainability Planner. Commissioner Opal Hins, Commissioner Jason Kemper, and Commissioner Fred Water.
Thank you. All right, so thanks for putting the org chart together to keep our staff straight and understand everybody's roles. So with that, we do have a quorum.
We do.
Okay. Presentation being led by Madison and Josh.
Yep.
Okay.
So this is a presentation, part of our ongoing series to show you what we're doing. We're working on some pretty cool stuff. Both of these projects were implemented under Todd Fabozzi's leadership in the sustainability portfolio. The projects were funded as a component of our EPA grant for climate pollution reduction. That grant funded our comprehensive climate action plan. And the tools you'll see today are an outgrowth of that planning process, and hopefully are giving more tools to communities to make it easier for them to take steps to implement the climate action plan. One tool is the Capital Region Climate Action Portal. And you'll be learning more about that. And the next tool, which is, they're both cool, but this one is really cool. They're both really cool. I have no favorite children here. But the Capital Region Natural Resource Inventory Portal, this is a portal that will allow any community or community group to essentially create their own natural resource inventory without the need to hire professionals to help them. It enables people to do all the mapping. It provides templates for the planning process. So I don't want to steal anybody's thunder. So without any further ado, I'll turn it over to Josh and Maddie. Everybody okay online? Okay, so it sounds like everyone can hear me.
No, they can't.
Could be. Let me take pause to do some IT investigations. This doesn't count if they can't hear. Test, test, test.
Well, it's picking it up. I'll tell you what, folks, I think I'm gonna restart the owl, so just give us a second. Sometimes the owl
It does, it hoots.
have sound. Sometimes you just need to unplug it and restart it.
I've got a hammer in my car. Don't need a hammer.
Well, and that's what you should tell everyone, you know, about IT issues. You know, always my parents are like, what's wrong with it? I'm like, have you restarted your phone?
It's interesting. What would happen if people did that with cars? The car's not going to move. Stop by the side of the road, take the engine out, and back in.
Pretty sure that would not work, but it's a great idea. Control out the lead, let's go.
Right, go. Reset. Rebooting everything. Turn it off. Unplug it.
I never knew that was called an owl.
Yeah, the hoot.
It hoots.
Oh.
It does.
Wasn't making that up.
Holy cow.
Good morning.
Enjoy.
All right, folks, online, is anything better now?
Mark, we can hear you really well. Just maybe if someone else further away speaks, I think that's part of the issue. Is
Why don't you say something, Gary?
Hello?
Yeah, I could hear you well, Mark. Just if someone else speaks, we couldn't hear any of that.
Okay. Let's see, noise canceling, audio settings.
Mark, do you have a setting where it only picks up your voice? Is this,
It could be. I mean, I do.
Great.
It's like molasses over a washboard.
Cool. Voice you want to record
That's right. Jason, can you hear me? It's Joe.
Joe, I got you now. That seems a little better.
Good.
We'll deal with it.
Confirming we're live streaming this.
Yes, we're live streaming.
Back to Josh.
Yep. All right, so I just want to show you where you can access the online climate action portal from our website. So if you go under programs, sustainability, and you'll look on the button here, Capital Region Climate Action Collaborative. And you can read the climate action plan in a PDF form that was released last fall. This just goes over who is included in the Climate Action Collaborative. And then right down here, you'll see the Climate Action Portal.
Hey, I think we should make it less clicks to access the portal.
Okay. I will work on that. Thank you. So the portal can be seen here. One of the things that I'd like to kind of just highlight is that folk can look at their greenhouse gas emissions at the community level. This was part of the work that was done in the EPA CPRG program. So municipalities, counties, towns, villages, and cities can look at their community-wide emissions. So that would include industry, businesses, agriculture, waste, all of those sectors. As well, they can look at, here, we have visuals that show progress in the region. So looking at some of the different technologies, what is the uptake of them, where are they located? And then we have some case studies of specific municipalities that have implemented some projects towards greenhouse gas mitigation. So folks can kind of see what's happening in the region and reach out to their neighbors. And then I'll just give a brief on the CSC and the CEC programs that we also work on. So in here, embedded within here, you have the greenhouse gas inventory, where you can select your county and then down to the municipal level or the county level, and that will change the values. So here we just have the actual emissions from the different sectors. So the built environment, transportation, we have agriculture, industry, and refrigerant, and then the waste sector. And on the right shows you where the emissions are coming from, so the different energy sources. And then on the far right here, you can look at cost. So where are most of the funds being spent to produce or consume these energy sources? If you want to look at regional data, so that would be the 4-county region, you can select down at the bottom there. You can look at the 4-county region or the 8-county region. And this can be exported as a PDF file or an image, or you can look at it in a data format by clicking here. So I'll move on to looking at some of the emission changes over time. So this was the emissions that we recently cataloged for the 2022 year as compared to 2010, which was when the last regional inventory was done. And so that can be looked at again by municipality or by county. So we have some static maps in here, and so these look at residential emissions relating to on-road transportation, emission per capita, residential energy cost per capita, residential fuel oil emissions, and the predominant fuel source. So those can be cycled here on the left-hand side. So another key point that I want to highlight on here that we have available for communities are some of the best practices that we've identified through the comprehensive climate action plan. So these are specific measures that we've identified through conversations with industry, municipal partners for ways to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. So these have a little bit more detail in the climate action plan. However, if you toggle each one of these, it will shoot out a description of what each of those actions have, and they are broken out by sector as well. So we use this as a planning tool when we sit down with communities and they're kind of looking for different things that they can start to work on, and we have a list of all of these in an Excel format, and we can check those off as areas of interest, and then who has the authority to implement. As well in here, which you'll also see in Maddie's NRI tool, this is a map of the carbon stock in the region. So this is green cover. And so this can be a useful tool for planning, for development, as well as looking to preserve areas as well. This just shows a change in land cover over the years from 2010 to 2022. Any of the negative values that you see are a loss in land cover and vegetation. That would be these values on the bottom. And then the positive values are basically replacement with natural standing sources of, homes and industry. So in here, we have a projection map of all the measures if they were to be undertaken, what the projection for greenhouse gas reduction would be. So that would be the green line, and the blue dotted line, it would be business as usual, meaning no changes made. And you can look into each individual sector to look at what the impact would be from each of those sectors. So moving on to regional progress, we thought it would be helpful to highlight what communities are doing, as well as at the statewide level, just to have an idea of what some of the uptake of these technologies are. So we have data relating to EV adoption. And so this can be looked at by region, county, or zip code. And if you dig into this, it does get into what vehicle model types are most common. We are also looking at EV charging stations, level 2 and level 3, where they're being deployed throughout the state, and this would link you out to an external data source as well.
Is the BEV 100% electric vehicle? Plug-in hybrid, and there's BEV?
This one I think breaks out between plug-in and battery electric. So the PHEV would be the plug-in.
Yeah.
And then the BEV is strictly battery. Yes. See, so we have data on solar installations. So this includes statewide distributed solar and large scale projects. And so this is broken out by county, and you can look also at the number of total projects as well by county. Another recent addition due to popular demand, and it's a hot topic right now, is battery energy storage. So we wanted to look at where these already exist in the region. And so these orange dots represent tier 1, which are a smaller scale. So this could be residential or small commercial. And then the purple dots are large scale facilities that are grid tied and are primarily for grid resiliency. And then this is just showing in a graphical form, the uptake of battery energy storage, in the region, by county. I'm sure many of you are familiar with CDPHP Cycle, which is a bike share program offered by CDPHP. So we dug into some of the data relating to the ridership, the amount of bikes that they have available over time, as well as the environmental impact of this program. Another indicator that we have are the uptake of electric school buses in the region. So we have that by school district as a percentage of their total fleet. And then we also looked at CDTA, what their uptake is in electric bus adoption. And so right now that looks like they're at 9 total in their fleet. So I did want to kind of show you some of this information, which we broke out by project type. So you can look at where there are solar installations on municipal property or buildings, EV purchases for fleet vehicles, heat pump installation, where EV charging has been installed by municipalities, electric landscaping equipment, energy efficiency building upgrades, and then lastly, LED streetlight conversions throughout the region. And so if you look at some of these dots, you'll see the individual municipality, a photo, and then a small description. Some of the information we're still collecting. So we encourage any municipality that may not have made it onto this list to reach out to us, and we do an annual update. And so with that, I will just say that a lot of this progress has been made through communities' participation in the Climate Smart program, which is a DEC program that we provide outreach for, as well as NYSERDA's clean energy communities. And this provides them with a roadmap of different actions they can take. And really, in the last 10 to 15 years, this is just an amalgamation of all the work that they've been doing. And lastly, I wanted to just show some of the grant that we've been able to secure for our region. And this is broken out by county as well as by municipality. So you can take a look. And this is over $9 million in match-free grant funds. So with that, I'll take any questions anyone has at this time.
Before questions, I'd rather have Matthew proceed with her
Sure.
presentation.
Sure.
But I'd just like to say, because I'd be remiss, because Todd has said it numerous times to the board, when we put together our climate action plan, unlike New York State, we took an all of the above approach in terms of energy sources, feeling that that was more realistic. And in addition, through our outreach to industry sectors, we adopted essentially what they were already doing in terms of interventions to lower their collective carbon footprint, rather than setting an arbitrary target. So as it turns out, we were ahead of the game, because the governor announced changes that basically take that approach and adopt it statewide. So, you know, there's a very realistic plan. It uses an all of the above approach in terms of energy sources. And, you know, that portal shows the progress being made and also provides tools for communities themselves to start thinking about doing their own climate action planning. I did mention this Capital Region Natural Resource Inventory. We consulted with a number of partners that do this type of work around the region, including the Hudson River Estuary Program, other planners, and other stakeholders, to make sure that what we were building would hit the mark and not miss the mark in terms of doing something that's useful for local communities as they're trying to advance natural resource inventory planning. Maddie?
Okay. Awesome. So thanks, Josh, for introducing the climate action portal. And now, like Mark had mentioned, I'm gonna walk through some of the features of the Capital Region Natural Resource Inventory, or NRI. For those of you who are not familiar, a natural resource inventory is a process communities use to document their natural resources and landscape features. Communities often use NRIs to support planning, conservation efforts, as well as make informed decisions at the local level. It can also help communities earn climate smart communities points on their certification process. So this is the online mapping application. We also have a complementary NRI template. There's kind of two purposes of this portal. The first being the NRI. So here we have at the top banner, these subheadings are meant to correspond to a pre-made map. And the template has the same headings there. You will insert the map and it'll have some boilerplate information about, let's just say, bedrock geology. Then it's up to the local group creating the NRI to add that additional context or expertise. The other bit of this online application portal is this all categories button, which I'll walk through first. But first, this is the landing page of the portal, talks a bit more about what an NRI is, how to use the site, what topics are involved in this portal, some other resources that might be helpful as you're diving into a natural resource inventory, including a link back to the climate action portal. Some examples of other natural resource inventories and additional documentation, and then just to stay connected to our staff or join the newsletter. All right, so I'm going to walk through an example of how I would use this all categories section. This section is essentially an aggregation of all the data layers that are provided in these subheadings here. You can see more information about it on this left-hand side, and we'll open up the map layers. For this use case, I'm just going to pretend I'm a planning and zoning board member and I have a property for a subdivision that has come before me and I'm interested in learning a bit more about the context or area surrounding this property. Okay, so up on the top right, you'll see a search button. So I'm going to search for my subdivision that came before me, which is just going to be 80 Datetown Road. Zooms me to that property there. And for this use case, I'm going to change my base map, which is essentially the background layer of what the maps will have layered on top of them. So for now, I'm going to change it to imagery, is what I'll see kind of like what Google has. But there's a variety of different options that you can toggle around and play with. I'm going to go back into the map layers. You can see that they're the same headings as up above. And I'm just going to open one up. And let's just say for this use case, I'm interested in prime farmland. I'll zoom out a bit so we can see more context. You can see our property here, 80 Datetown, is located in an area that is prime farmland. I'm going to continue on. Let's say I'm interested in informational freshwater wetland mapping as well. I can then go ahead and add that to the map, and you can see it's adjacent to a potential wetland in purple. And let's say I'm also interested in protected lands. You can see that layer then pops up. Some of the layers are interactive, so I encourage like clicking through them. Prime farmlands and informational wetlands are not, but protected lands is an interactive layer, so you can get more information about what exactly it is by clicking on the map. Some other interesting features here, I can click these three dots on the right-hand side. I can change the transparency. So I can, make the layers more prominent or not, depending on what I'm interested in looking at. I can also use these 6 buttons to drag the layers on top of one another. So like layering a cake, if I want to bring this protected lands to the forefront, I can then drag it all the way to the top and it'll make it the topmost layer. I also can click into this details button. All of this data is collected through New York State, local databases or federal databases. Some are also managed by CDRPC. So if you're interested in the frequency in which they are updated or who owns them or other additional facts, you can click on this details button and it'll bring you to that information. You can also make a custom map, which I'll walk through in the next use case. But again, you can create your own layers and then export a map that might be helpful in the planning process. So that's the all categories button. Now I'm going to switch gears a bit and I'm going to be creating an NRI. And let's say I'm interested in carbon stock. I want to include that in my NRI. I'm going to go ahead and click that here. Again, just very similar layout of the page. You have information on the left-hand side. You have the source, which will bring you to the additional information that I had mentioned earlier. And this layer here was created by Clark University in 2020, and Josh had mentioned briefly, it just calculates the carbon stock of above and below ground organic matter, how much carbon it's sequestering. I would then select my community, and for this example, I'm going to be Ballston, the town of Ballston, creating an NRI. Click apply. Zooms me to the town. Again, I can change that base map. For this one, I'm just going to leave it the way it is. And then I will make a map. I'm going to first click show print area and then change the template. This is like a trial and error process here, but this one fits the town perfectly. And essentially the print area is just the graphic that will be inputted on the PDF export of the individual map. I'm going to change my title to town Ballston carbon stock. And then I have two options for export. I can export as a PDF or a JPEG. We have the template set up right now to be able to do both. For this example, I'm going to show you how to import a JPEG image into the template. If I go down into the advanced settings, I can change the print area. Through custom settings, I can add, who the author is. These are automatically included as they're good for they're necessary elements to a map. And then I will click print. Once it's completed, it will show up in this results section. Depending on how large the database is, it might take a little bit of time to load or how many tabs are open or other things are running in the back. But while this is thinking, I'm going to go ahead and open up the NRI template located on the right-hand side here. Is this set that I have to stop share and share again?
I think so.
Okay. Okay. So this is what the template looks like. Anything that's bolded or in yellow highlight is just prompting the community to import their own information. Prompts for logos, for pictures, for any additional information found in red. You can see that we have those subheadings again from like physical setting. We see bedrock geology, which we have in the online mapping application. So for this one, I'm looking at why can't I see it now?
Looking for carbon stock?
Yeah, do you see it? Am I just not? In the physical setting. Okay, it's not there. That's fine. We can add that, but I'll just show you how to add a picture. So essentially you have the template information here, prompting communities to add more information about whatever category you're looking to add. Some of these sections have links to take you to external sites to help you bolster your knowledge about that specific category. And then we can, let me go back. apologize for the screen switching. Because our map is ready. So this is the result of the print map function when you're going through your different subcategories and creating maps. So what I'll do is I'll just save this image in Mark's downloads. Okay, so you can see we have the title at the top. Town of Boston carbon stock. We have our necessary map features at the bottom, the author on the bottom. If you're tech savvy, you can add your logo to this. And then let's go ahead and add it in the template. Okay. So we have the instructions here in case you forget, but you can just click this, click the picture icon, browse from file. Boom, we have our map. If you wanted to add the PDF, you could just add it in between the pages. That'll just make the image much larger than what it appears to be here, but for time's sake, you can just add it as the JPEG. And I think this really alleviates the burden for communities looking to do an NRI if they don't have technical mapping expertise or don't know where to start. This is a really, really comprehensive framework and baseline that communities can rely on, and they can also rely on the supportive CDRPC staff to kind of walk them through this process. But it's a great starting point, and I'll be happy to take any questions from the group. Yeah.
Are you gonna do workshops or anything for local government officials? I guess it could even be just as through Zoom, so they develop a depth of understanding.
Yeah, absolutely. We did.
I can answer that if you want me to, if you don't mind, just because it's part of a series of things that we're doing to implement the climate action plan. Yes. So one of these things are all set up to be part of the way we're implementing our climate action plan. The two tools that you just saw, they were not required tools to create. They were just our own creative way of taking advantage of having this funding and tying it back to our climate action plan so that we could do some cool things that for the communities in the region and for our organization. So in order to then promulgate the ideas of these things or knowledge of these things, we've been doing a monthly webinar series on climate action tied to the measures in our plan. And one of the sessions that we just did was on these two topics that you just got presented. So not only did we do a region-wide webinar and with a good participation and everything, but we also record those and then we put them on the website in our YouTube channel and tied to our climate action plan page. So anyone who didn't attend that webinar can go and view it. In this case, we also are presenting this. We've pitched to present it at the Upstate APA conference as a session, and we will be presenting it at our annual fall planning and zoning workshop. So we're very much trying to get this out to communities. And make it easy for them to be able to not only use it as a tool for planning, any planning board or anybody that wants to review a project area, but also, like Maddie said, be able to easily create their own NRI. But tying it back also to the climate action plan and the mitigation requirements. So that's like carbon stock is one of those aspects that ties back, and it's a unique thing. I don't think you probably find an NRI anywhere else that even has that. And I think what we did is we had it in the planning layer, but I don't know in the template if we ever added that as a line item because it's a kind of a new addition, but we'll easily add that to the template and as another unique map. So, and just to tie back quickly to what Josh presented, the point of that, besides just showing the communities in the region and what they've been doing, is that we're required by that grant to do tracking and to produce a final report as a final deliverable. So this is a good graphic way to take the comprehensive climate action plan and show it visually, but also we're going to be extracting that information in two ways. At the end of this year, we're going to be doing a report card because we're going to be in November, 1 year in to the climate action plan being completed. And we said we would do an annual report card of progress on the measures. and then it will tie to our final report that we have to do next year.
Thanks, Todd. I have one other question.
Sure.
Mark mentioned the state backing off from mandates. The local governments have to have a state-approved climate action plan before they can apply for a lot of grant programs.
No, they don't. There's no, I mean, the programs that we're involved with, or that the states, you know, how they're promulgating the CLCPA, which is the climate law. As of right now, any of the programs we're involved with have nothing to do with mandates. They're just simply voluntary programs to transition to clean energy. And so that's it. So they provide grant funding to do climate action plans. And we have created through our plan a way for them to be able to jumpstart that process within our climate smart community outreach coordinator grant program that we have with DEC. We can help communities to do those plans, but not required.
Okay, thanks.
Remind you, if your community is doing climate smart communities to be eligible for certain tiers or funding, but.
I was thinking of the local waterfront revitalization plans that years ago, they had to be state approved before they could even apply for funding. And it took a long time for the part of the state to approve that. Forever. Well, it still takes a long time for the state to approve any plans, so we're very lucky that they don't have to.
I'm impressed. I'm impressed by the presentations, the information, the tools available to everyone. I commend both of you. You did a great job.
Thanks.
You've come a long way since the Greenway days.
Oh,
using
yeah.
Map info,
Oh, yeah.
trying to piece maps together.
Yeah.
Is partial data available, like to show property lines when you zoom in?
So we have the centroids. So it's up to the county to submit their parcel data to the state in order to have that as like a storage free layer for us to use. Right now, only 2 counties in the region have that available. So as a workaround, we've included the parcel centroids, which is available for all parcels in New York State. It's a massive layer and it'll take a long time to load, but that information is available under the parcel centroids layer under land use.
What are the 2 counties that do it?
Albany and Rensselaer.
All right, any other questions for Maddie or Josh?
Yeah, it's taking forever, but.
Well, thank you, guys. Great work as always.
Thank you.
All right, next item, requiring board approval of the minutes from our last meeting held on April 15. Minutes were included in the packet. Does anybody have any questions on those minutes? There's a motion to approve.
Motion.
I have a second. I have a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Next, financial statements through May. Mark?
Yeah, we're tracking pretty good through May. We're underperforming on revenues simply because we haven't sent the second quarter bills yet. Expenses are at 41%, and that's exactly where we should be. We'll be sending our second quarter bills after the close of the quarter. We have $250,000 cash in hand. Outstanding receivables, and this has gone down a little bit since the end of May, stood at 630,000, of which almost 500,000 state and federal grants. But again, we're drawing those down and have received payments on that, so it's not something to be overly concerned about at this point. But we're in a strong fiscal position. Any questions on the financials?
Mark, I apologize if I asked this question last time. Can you remind me what the miscellaneous revenues is?
Sure. Miscellaneous revenue are part of that. Well, I think the lion's share of that is coming from our paid family leave insurance policy for Haley's paid family leave for her child.
Yeah.
So paid family leave, similar to workers' comp, disabilities, and insurance policy, employees pay into it. And when an employee goes on leave, the organization can choose to provide them with their full salary if they take their accruals to make up the difference between the policy provides and what their salary is, and that's what Haley chose to do. And so those are the payments, from the insurance policy for the leave that comes to us.
Awesome, thank you.
Any other questions for Mark? Hearing none, motion to approve, financials?
Motion.
Do I have a second? Second. Second by Mike. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. All right. 2027 budget.
Sure, just a reminder, the reason why we do the preliminary budget in June is so we can submit the funding request to our member counties in a timely fashion, when they're developing their budget. The overall budget, is proposed to decrease slightly, and that reflects changes in some of our contractual work. The A&F committee is recommending again this year, requesting an aggregate additional increase to the counties of 3%. So that would move the request from 235,000 collectively to 242,000. Again, strong return on investment for the county's dollar in 2005. Every county dollar leveraged $7 in outside grants and other revenue. Interest and earnings, I'll just go through a couple of these lines. From our NICLAS account, conservative estimates are the return is going to be somewhere about 3.25%, 3.5%. So we're going 3.25%. FTZ, we do anticipate getting additional users on in 27, including Regeneron and the Port of Albany, and additional revenues reflect that. NYSERDA, the amended contract expires in the middle of 27 in June 30th. We are waiting patiently for NYSERDA to release its brand new, they call it a PON. It's basically a notice of funding opportunity for the next multi-year grant for the program. We feel very strongly that we would be very competitive in the new program, and this budget, the budget revenues reflect anticipated revenues coming from that new contractual obligations. Obviously, when we do the real budget in December, we'll know more about that grant opportunity. Climate Smart, we're good through first quarter 28. The NBRC program line, it's a new full line in for 27. In 25, we spent down about $34,000. Our contract with the Northern Border Regional Commission provides us with $110,000 in program money each year, and that's reflected on the revenue side of the budget. Similarly, our water quality program, we were a little underspent in 25, but I anticipate with our implementation of the water bleed reservoir, water quality protection plan, and doing the Tomahawk water quality protection plan will fully spend down that grant line this year. Salaries, full professional staff of 9 and 1 part-time professional and 1 intern. Consultant services, this has changed, but it basically funds the ongoing maintenance of capital region indicators. Legal counsel, our cost of living index data collection by Siena University, and other minor consulting services. Significant change from the 2025 actuals because we're not engaging a consultant to work on broadband planning, so that's significantly changed this year. Status quo with computer supplies and software. Data purchases increased significantly because we're purchasing data from 2 companies, CoStar, which has detailed housing data, particularly on large apartment complexes in the region, and AirDNA, which provides data on short-term rentals. So both of those data sources are 75% reimbursable from the Transportation Council down the hall, because we're essentially their consultant working on a variety of housing studies. And while the counties are standing up their own regulatory frameworks to regulate short-term rentals, it's still a mixed bag in terms of accessing the data. So in order for us to do this work and get consistent data, we're going to purchase the data from CoStar, at least for the near term.
Has AirDNA been something purchased for years now?
No, this will be a new purchase, and we're still in negotiations.
The tourism bureaus, a lot of the counties are now trying to get the bed tax. So it might be good for them to know that you have this data available.
Yeah, well, I think Albany counties, they're standing up their new program for taxing. Saratoga County is standing up a program for taxing. What's the status in Schenectady County? We're about to go there. And I'm not sure about Rensselaer County, if they've gone to that, but long and the short of it is all counties are gonna have some sort of regulatory environment shortly. But in advance of that happening in all of our counties, we're just gonna buy the data at this point. New York State retirement, we'll talk more about tier 6 in the following memo, but that's up, increased slightly. Unemployment insurance decreased, so it reflects actuals. The health insurance budget line reflects an 8.25% increase in costs for 27, which is an estimate. I didn't have the exact fund balance because we're still completing the audit for 2025, but fund balance at the end of 24 was $704,000. Any questions on the budget?
Is CDRPC locked into any of the health insurance rates from prior years, or is that not available?
What do you mean?
So one of the organizations I work with, they maintain the same rate from 2024 through 2027. It was something that was offered. I'm not sure if that's available.
No, since we participate in the NISHIP plan, they adjust the rates. But the good news is that it's a fringe benefit. So regardless of what grant programs we apply for, sometimes they say you can't charge indirect. Indirect is like rent and computers and stuff. But fringe benefit, you can charge in any grant. So as our health insurance expenses go up, we can simply just increase our fringe rate, fringe percentage. So while it's an out-of-pocket expense, an additional expense, we can recoup that additional expense through the change in the fringe rate.
I was told that the health insurance rates probably won't be known until like August, is that right?
They're usually not known until October.
Yeah,
Okay,
NISHIP don't even start the process till October.
okay.
And sometimes they come very late. Sometimes I'm doing my December budget and, they're not available yet.
I check all the time, starting
I'm
from
sure,
like
no, I'm sure.
on.
Someone said, yeah, in another organization that they won't even have a hint until
No.
like, no, or till August.
Oh, it's
or
even
later.
later, it's later.
Right, does this require board approval?
Mhm.
I got a motion to approve the budget. So, second, made a second. Any other questions on the budget? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Great. And this triggers again, my request to the counties for 2027 appropriation. With that request, I send our annual report, I send a cover letter. Some counties require an extra process, like Saratoga County, which usually happens in August, so at some point. But this vote just guarantees our next funding request will be made.
Do you have any feedback on those funding requests? You could to break up at the next meeting.
Yes, absolutely. It probably happens sooner than that.
All right, tier 6.
So yes, the legislature and the governor changed tier 6. The long and the short of it is that it'll result in a near-term increase to our contribution to pension between $8,000 to $12,000 per year. And we have a lot of employees who are tier 6 employees because our age here skews younger. 60% of our employees currently are tier 6 employees.
What percent?
60. So these increases will probably steadily increase over time, but again, our contribution to the pension is a fringe benefit. So as those costs increase, we can simply adjust our fringe benefit rate and recoup that on the back end as we get reimbursed through grants. Any questions on tier 6?
And the positive makes us more attractive as a employer to offer.
Yes, I mean, if, I'm not so clear on what the changes actually did, but if it makes us more attractive to be an employer, then that's a good thing.
Any questions on part tier 6?
The earliest any of these changes will go through is October. Because that's when I called them about it. Because the changes in rates, who tier 6 and who would be, what would the percentages change and what would be contributing, but they said nothing's gonna happen probably till at least October.
All right, next memo.
Sure, new hires and promotions. The ANF committee reviewed in detail the qualifications and the details related to these new hires and promotions.
Kate Maynard, took a job and wish her very well as the Commissioner of Planning for Schenectady County. So her job, created a job opening here, and Tara Donadio has taken a fully remote position with the Northeast Energy Efficiency Partnership in anticipation of relocating to Syracuse to be closer with her family. Thankfully, Kate's remained on a part-time basis to help with the transition of the economic development portfolio. In our policy manual, we prioritize internal promotions when qualified candidates are available, and fortunately, we had 2 qualified candidates to promote. I promoted Jocelyn Jaspal to the Planning and Economic Development Program Manager to replace Kate's director level position. And I've promoted our intern Fernanda to the environmental planner position. And both have good solid backgrounds for that position. Instead of replacing Tara's assistant director level position, we've hired a new sustainability coordinator, Natalie Berger. She's going to be continuing her studies at Binghamton, working towards a master's. And we've promoted both Haley and Josh to senior sustainability coordinators. The fiscal impact to CDRPC with these changes is the total salary line will decline by $31,000 this year. But again, the A&F committee was briefed on all the details of these staffing changes. And I request the board action to approve these hires.
So move. Second.
Any other questions? Changes? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. VRC timber translate price.
So yes, they say 1 out of 3 will get you into the Hall of Fame. Well, that's how successful we were with the recent grant applications that we made. So we were denied the application for the regional housing study, and we were denied the application from the local government efficiency program for all the regional planning boards to work on address verification. But we did get the Timber for Transit grant. And this is again, a feasibility study to examine in Saratoga, Schenectady, and Rensselaer counties, the feasibility of replacing low volume rural short span bridges with new timber products, laminated timber and other kind of products. We will receive $90,000 from NBRC. The New York State DOT Region 1 is kicking in $60,000 for the match. And this is hopefully investment in not only helping rural communities out who are, need capacity to do this kind of work, but will also hopefully be a catalyst for our forest economy in the state. We currently have sawmills and people are producing wood products, but nobody in New York State is currently producing the kinds of wood products needed for this kind of construction. So maybe this will, in the long term, support that. In the near term, the project will deliver 2 construction-ready designs for 2 bridges in the region, and then another 18 or so concept designs for bridges in the region. We can then, after those designs are done, go back to the Northern Border Regional Commission for construction grants for these projects. And we can match those construction grants with DOT's Bridge New York money. So between those 2 resources, we're going to hopefully make it really cheap to replace these bridges for rural communities. Because we'll hopefully be able to match federal, state, and the rural communities themselves, or the counties that own the bridges, won't have to contribute too much of anything to the project. So this lays the foundation for all of that.
I like that.
The $90,000 paid for 100% of the construction ready docks, and then that seems.
That's $150,000. So DOT's kicking in $60,000 cash. So after we get the contracts, I'll be issuing RFPs for our engineering firm to be able to work with us to do this stuff.
All right, so no cost to us, NICE.63 and then NVRC 90.
Already have the bridges picked out. We have a preliminary list of bridges. The folks down the hall, the Transportation Council did a bridge assessment a couple of years ago. And that gave us the information of length and condition and location. So we preliminarily identified them, but one of the first parts of the scope of our contractor will be to dig deeper into that. To look, actually ground truth these areas that would be suitable.
And what qualifies as a low volume?
There is I'm not sure if it's a standard, but low volume is, maybe 20 cars a day.
Weight limit, also a weight limit, I would assume.
There could be a weight limit, but these timber structures can hold, a pretty significant amount of weight. But again, that'll be part of the engineering analysis and suitability, because we're not trying to do something that's not gonna work,
I'm thinking of a particular bridge that's dangerous for pedestrians and bicyclists. There's no space for them at all. You have to go into the travel lane. Could you look at an add-on to an existing bridge that's just for pedestrians and bicycles on the side? Very, light traffic.
It's a very flexible program. However, that kind of project wouldn't be competitive for Bridge New York funding. It might be competitive for some of the funding that's allocated to bicycle and pedestrian stuff. That could be eligible for Northern Border Regional Commission funding as well. But, we would have to be that kind of proposal.
Well, because there's gonna be an evaluation of the maintenance costs of the timber bridge versus conventional material.
There is, right now, I think, this program isn't new, so these kind of bridges have been built in other states, Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine. So there's some preliminary research. We're gonna be reaching out to the Empire State Forest Products Association. And there is a wood products laboratory at SUNY ESF that's looking into these issues. But from my perspective, this is still kind of in the semi-piloty stage. We know they're like the Buzzard Bridge. That's how long has that been?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they last with proper maintenance. But still, a lot of these products are new technologies. Some of them are very old technologies. But the cost benefit of maintenance versus steel versus wood remains to be seen. But from my perspective, if we can get these in without community having to pay anything for them, that's a good.
It's a good rust versus termites.
Yes.
And Mark, is the Bridge New York renting that out already?
I don't know the exact timing of the Bridge New York funding. It's been an annual, rolling application, so whenever we get this done, hopefully these bridges will be queued up for the next round of Bridge New York funding, or 2 rounds later.
Right,
And this is an action item to accept the grant.
yeah, so I'm gonna recuse myself from any vote on this one, because my firm may be involved in response to the RFP that goes out, so. Any other questions for Mark on this?
Sounds good.
Motion to approve, make the motion. Motion made, second. All right, all in favor, say aye. Opposed? Now I'm recuse myself into the record, thanks. All right, next, something that I had been discussing with Mark for on occasion over the past many months was to have more of an informal meeting of some of this committee. Obviously, we have to be cautious about quorum rules and open meeting laws, but just more of a strategic discussion about the work that the organization does, the space that we're in, opportunities, more strategic thinking discussion, and in order to kind of delve deeper into some of the issues that we touch on during the normal course of the meetings. So with that, Mark has put together an outline and a structure to kick this off, and today would be I think the first meeting of this shortly after this one. But Mark, you want to walk us through what your thoughts are?
Sure. As the executive director, sometimes you just have your head down and you're doing the work. So it's always valuable to get different perspectives on the thing, because you might just be in your own little bubble. So from my perspective, I hope to get new perspectives from our board members from this. But also as the executive director, I don't want anything to, spiral out of control. So the guardrails are essentially, this is what we do, this is how we're funded. What within that, how can we think strategically about where CDRPC is going in the future? And not necessarily a full strategic plan, but understanding where we are, how we're funded, how we operate, and what are the other opportunities out there that maybe we're not, that may be in our blind spot. So that's what I'm hoping to get out of it.
Yeah, so I think the forum would be, it would be open obvious to everybody in the group here. I would hope that everybody would want to attend at some point and to sit in on some of these meetings. Obviously, there may be a case where we have too many that are interested in joining a meeting. Hopefully we get to that point and we have to start to limit it or stagger attendance, but hopefully this is something that can continue on. Doesn't necessarily need to be every time that we meet, but I know from my over 10 years being on the board, this is such a powerful group and we have such a great experience and background and we bring so many things to the table. I know it's been extremely educational for me, but I think if we can engage in more of these informal discussions, we can accelerate that learning curve from each other. So this may be a forum to do that. So,
yeah.
Any questions for Mark on this, all right? Program. A little bit different.
I would say, Mark, is that we have two new members from Rensselaer County and that might not have been part of the strategic planning discussion. Invitation earlier on.
Well, I know Dan's a busy guy, but we're meeting.
No, not easy for you, Mark.
Immediately after this meeting, we're having the first meeting. If you'd like to attend, but no pressure.
Okay. And last thing, annual report.
Yes, well, this is all I have to show you now, the annual report cover. But it looks nice.
Good cover is a good start.
Yeah, a good cover is a good start, so congratulations, Lovina, for doing a good cover. The deficiency is that I have not been able to copy edit the content. But I need to finish this next week so we can send the request letters.
And this gets included in the request letters. Yeah, it will do. So, and so it just goes to the county instead of any other
We
distribution.
send it to every elected county official.
We reviewed it last board meeting, correct?
What's that?
Then we review it, produce it?
The annual report?
Yeah.
I don't believe
Oh,
so.
I thought, okay.
This meeting last year, I had the annual report ready.
So you'll send out a link or something to us?
Yep.
Any questions on it? Right, none. Next meeting is scheduled for October 21st. If everybody can add that to their calendars, let me know if you already know that you're gonna have a conflict. And with that, we have a motion to adjourn. So move. Motion made. Second. Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?